Imagine this. You're standing there on the edge of your own slice of paradise, a quiet lakeside retreat you've dreamed about for decades, the kind of place where the morning mist rolls off the water like a gentle whisper, the birds chirping softly as if they're part of some eternal symphony, and suddenly, this bulldozer comes rumbling down, massive, uninvited, ready to carve up your land like it's nothing, like it belongs to everyone but you. And that's when the fight begins, the real fight. Not just for dirt and water, but for everything you've built, everything you've lost, and everything you refuse to let them take, including the echoes of laughter from a life cut short. My name is Marcus Hale, 62 years young, retired after 35 grueling years mapping out boundaries, drawing lines in the sand. Literally, telling folks where their world ends and the next guy's begins, often in the blistering sun or pouring rain, stake by stake, measurement by measurement, a career that taught me the unyielding power of precision. And let me tell you, when Linda Hargrove, the iron-fisted president of the Silver Lake Estates HOA, came knocking with her fake smile and her hidden agenda, claiming my private beach was some kind of shared playground for the neighborhood, I didn't yell or fight back right away. No, I just nodded, kept my cool, and started piecing together a fortress of facts, because deep down, I knew this wasn't just about a dock or a swim spot. It was about entitlement crashing into hard-earned rights, a clash that stirred memories of my late wife, her gentle insistence on fairness. And I was about to turn the tide, honoring her in every calculated step. It all kicked off back in April 2024, when I'd barely settled into my cozy cabin, the one I'd built with my own hands after losing my wife in 2018. Every nail hammered with memories of her laughter echoing over the waves, the sunsets we'd planned to watch together. Now just me and the quiet ache of what could have been, the wood still smelling fresh, the floors creaking underfoot like old friends, and there she was, Linda, at my door with a covered dish smelling of cheese and obligation, her pastel sweater screaming suburban charm, but her eyes, sharp as surveyor's pins, scanning my porch like she owned the view, perhaps already envisioning her community's flags planted there. We sat there, overlooking the sparkling 40-acre spring-fed lake I'd bought back in 1998 for a steal, $32,000 for 2.3 acres of untouched waterfront, back when it was wild woods and dirt paths, no fancy gates or manicured lawns in sight, just raw potential waiting for dreams to take root. And she chatted about the community spirit, the traditions that bound everyone together, how folks looked out for one another, sharing barbecues and holiday lights. But then, oh then, she slipped it in, casual as can be. We've always enjoyed the lake through this spot. The old owner was so kind about it. I'm sure you'll keep that going. And I, still naive to the snake pit of HOA games, said sure, why not? As long as it's respectful, no wild bashes, clean up after yourselves. Thinking it was a neighborly favor, not realizing she saw it as confirmation of her twisted belief that my beach, my sanctuary, was theirs by some divine communal right, a belief she'd woven into every sales pitch she made. See, Linda Hargrove wasn't just running the HOA. She was a realtor too, Hargrove Properties, and she'd peddled over 60 homes in Silver Lake Estates. This gated enclave of 247 upscale houses perched on the ridge, all with pretty views of the water but zero actual touch. Their lots stopping short, 50 to 80 feet above the shore, no way down except through my land, the only parcel with real frontage. The access road I'd graded myself in 1999, every stone trucked in at my expense, surveyed to the inch, my sweat equity etched into every curve, dodging roots and boulders to make it smooth. I'd moved in November 2023, craving peace after the storm of grief, mornings with black coffee and the sun painting the lake gold. Maybe a line in the water for bass, watching the fish jump like fleeting joys, not this brewing war, but for those first 8 months, it seemed okay. Families trickling down on weekends, splashing around, kayaking gently, waving hello as they packed up at dusk, no drama. Until that December day when I strolled to the clubhouse to pay my dues and spotted those glossy blueprints tacked up, a grand double-deck pier with a shaded gazebo, fancy boards, lights, racks for boats, labeled Silver Lake Estates Community Shoreline Initiative, budgeted at $85,000. And right there, smack in the middle, drawn onto my beach like it was a blank canvas, complete with artist renderings of happy crowds that ignored the boundary stakes I'd placed years ago. My heart skipped, not in fear but in that slow-burning realization of betrayal, tracing the lines on my old survey, confirming what I knew. The whole thing sat on my turf, the land I taxed, the ground I cherished, every inch documented in faded ink, and the next morning, a shiny sign staked in the sand, announcing construction kickoff on January 15th, 2025, funded by homeowner fees. Questions to Linda Hargrove. So I dialed her up, voice steady as a level. "Did you get my okay for this?" And she chuckled, confused at first, then sharp. "We don't need it. That's shared space." And I pushed back, calm but firm. "Show me the legal easement." Silence stretching like a taut chain, her admitting they had none, but insisting on years of use. Everyone knowing it was HOA turf, and when I warned of trespass, she snapped, cold as winter wind. "We're moving forward for the community's sake," and hung up, leaving me staring at the dark ripples outside, the injustice gnawing deep, because this wasn't just land, it was my wife's dream, our future stolen once by fate, now threatened by greed, her voice in my head urging me to stand firm. That night, I dove into the documents, deed, survey, tax stubs, scouring the HOA rules from 2004, 6 years after my purchase, and finding zilch, no binding access, just fluffy words about lake perks without teeth, no signatures, no compensation, all vapor, and it hit me. Linda had built her sales empire on a bluff, promising waterfront dreams to buyers who never checked the fine print. Glossy brochures filled with stock photos of laughing children that masked the legal void, and with that fire kindling inside, I rang up an old family friend, attorney Elena Torres, 28 years battling land feuds. Her case is legendary for turning tables on the powerful, and laid it out, her voice steady over the line. "You've got a rock-solid case, but HOAs fight dirty. With deep pockets and grudges, it'll get messy." And I gazed at the moonlit water, my water, whispering back, "How do we start?" Her reply cutting through, "Record it all, every step, every word, build an ironclad wall." And so I did, ordering a hidden camera for the road, staking bright markers along my borders, emailing the board my refusal, attachments proving ownership, certified and tracked, and Linda shot back quick, calling me greedy, insisting they'd press on, the contract signed, fees collected, and that word, greedy, stuck like a thorn. Me, who'd nurtured this spot from nothing, now the bad guy for defending it. The isolation creeping in as I prepared for the long haul. The tension ratcheted up from there, my camera rolling silent vigil, capturing trespass after trespass in those weeks leading to January 15th. Families unaware they were pawns in this game. Picnics on my shore, kids giggling in the waves, 19 clips by Christmas Eve, each logged meticulously in my spreadsheet, evidence stacking like bricks, timestamps glowing like accusations. And then my neighbor Sarah Lynn pulled me aside at the mailboxes, whispering warnings about Linda's shady push for the contract. No bids shopped around, just handed to her pal's hubby at Kane Builders Incorporated, a firm tied to county gigs, their trucks often seen at public works sites. And I tucked that away, sensing the web of favors and back-scratching, the kind that erodes trust in small towns, calling Elena that night, her excitement bubbling. If there's corruption, it weakens them, but stay focused on the intrusion. And she filed for a court order to halt the build, while I braced for the storm, nights spent poring over maps under a single lamp, the lakes lapping a constant reminder of what was at stake. January 15th dawned crisp and unforgiving. Me up at dawn with coffee and resolve, hauling out that heavy chain from my truck, military-grade lock glinting in the early light, the frost crunching under my boots, and as the diesel growl approached, I phoned Deputy Tom Whitaker, a solid ex-Marine I'd bonded with over fishing tales, swapping stories of elusive catches. "I've got intruders inbound," with a court paper in hand. And he rolled up just as the yellow beast stopped at my markers. The operator puzzled, me handing him the survey, deed, and fresh restraining order, his face falling as he dialed his boss, backing off without a fight, the crew trailing, engines fading into the distance, and from afar, Linda's fury painted her cheeks crimson, but she didn't know the half of it, my files brimming with her emails, videos, lies preserved like trophies, waiting for the right moment to unleash. The satisfaction of that retreat mingling with the grief-fueled determination that kept me going. But she didn't quit. Oh no. For hours later my camera caught her with a suit-clad lawyer, Victor Lang from Lang & Associates LLP, and another board crony, bolt cutters in hand, her voice crackling. Snippet, he can't block us all. But the lock held, unyielding, and I emerged from the shadows. That's top-tier steel. You'd need power tools. Or my say-so. Their jumps and stammers almost comical. Her threats of lawsuits empty as I handed over Elena's card, shooing them off, adding the clip to my arsenal, attempted vandalism, crystal clear, the adrenaline surging as I walked back, the woods whispering encouragement. The HOA scrambled, secret meetings breaking rules, fining me $500 monthly for obstructing shared paths, blasting emails labeling me the destroyer of dreams, hurting values, denying kids their joy, the words twisting like knives, and the backlash hit hard, calls pouring in, rage-filled voices accusing me of theft, voicemails wishing calamity on my home, my truck keyed with jagged lines that felt personal, mailbox uprooted and tossed like trash, actual garbage dumped reeking on my drive, flies buzzing in the heat, me filing reports each time, enduring the isolation, shopping miles away, the weight of injustice pressing, but fueling my fire, because this was for more than me, for every underdog crushed by bullies in boardrooms, my wife's photo on the mantle urging resilience. Elena fired back, dismantling their easement claims. State law demanded 20 years of hostile use. They had 18, and permission killed the hostility angle anyway. Attaching my tax proofs, demanding their insurance details, a veiled sue threat, while my camera kept spinning yarns of folly, yoga-clad sneaks through thorns, teens slipping into the drink with splashes echoing, elders comically stranded on logs, each fail a badge of their desperation, lightening my dark days with ironic chuckles amidst the strain, the absurdity providing brief relief from the mounting pressure. Then the twist landed via mail. A county violation from the planning office, claiming my chain blocked a public way per a 1987 map that showed no such thing. Complaint lodged by Linda, fast-tracked by Commissioner Robert Kane, and I smelled the rot, digging in, requesting records, sensing the ties. Kane's kin owning Kane Builders Incorporated, the overpriced dock winners, their family ties a tangled mess of influence. And that's when reporter Alex Reed from the River Valley Gazette called, probing Kane's ethics, me sharing the saga, meeting him over coffee, his folders spilling secrets, inflated bids ignored, donations from Linda and crew to Kane's campaigns, a cozy circle of quid pro quo, and I promised my incoming docs, the puzzle pieces aligning, the thrill of uncovering the layers adding a layer of vindication to my solitary battle. Alex's first piece dropped, exposing HOA political coziness without naming me outright, but ripples spread, Reddit buzzing with outrage, TV interviews pulling me in, me staring down the lens. I'm not barring families. I'm stopping theft of my land. They sold illusions of access they never secured. That's the real crime. The clip exploding online, support flooding from strangers who shared their own tales of overreach. Board members fleeing like rats, 3 quitting in shame, leaving Linda exposed, but she rallied, hiring spin doctors, mailing pleas with glossy photos of lost traditions, staging a sad rally with sparse crowds and awkward signs, her voice pleading over static about unity. But the tide had turned, the narrative flipping from villain me to fraudulent her, and the pressure built to a fever pitch as Alex unleashed the full expose. 3,000 words gutting the myth. My pre-HOA ownership, no easements, sales lies, bid rigging, donations traced, and the community erupted. Petitions demanding her ouster circulating door to door, apologies trickling to my door like tentative olive branches, the county probing Kane, my violation vanishing without fanfare, the relief palpable, but the scars lingering. Then came the hammer from title sleuth Diana Ruiz at National Title Assurance, her mass letter shredding illusions. No insured access, potential fraud claims against the HOA and agents, homeowners furious, lawyering up with heated meetings, the board's funds naked without coverage, lawyers bailing on conflicts, Linda's desperate $2,000 per house plea for defense funds backfiring in a chaotic meeting, shouts of deceit echoing through the clubhouse, her allies abandoning ship, leaving her isolated, broken, as Elena fielded settlement talks, pushing for $150,000, apologies, deed notices, and Linda's exit, which she took quietly. The climax cresting in court on April 12th, the air thick with anticipation. The courthouse loomed like a monument to truth, columns standing sentinel as I stepped in, gallery packed with whispers and stares, some faces familiar from heated encounters, Elena at my side, briefcase battle-worn. Let me lead, facts only. And Judge Victoria Langford banged order, sharp-eyed in her 60s, no room for fluff. The HOA's new council Karen Voss opening with heartstrings. Photos of joyful families picnicking under blue skies, a tear-jerk video of a child lamenting the lost beach. With wide eyes, arguing equity over law, 18 years of reliance, bending rules, but Elena countered like a storm, slides flashing my survey, deed, taxes, dismantling the easement myth, time short, use permitted, their own rules demanding consent, and then the bombs. Bolt cutter footage playing in slow motion, Linda's damning email admitting no rights highlighted in red, an affidavit from the old owner confirming courtesy only, the judge's gaze hardening, pressing Karen for real law, getting silence, and with a crack of the gavel, injunction granted, no entry without my word, fees awarded, $37,000 to me. The room exhaling, Linda crumbling in her seat, apologies following me out, a weight lifting as I drove home, victory bittersweet, the lake waiting serene, reflecting the clouds like a mirror to my resolved soul. Linda Hargrove stepped down April 20th, a curt email her farewell, Sarah Lynn elected in her wake, settling swift, cash, sorries, deed clarifications, and Commissioner Robert Kane censured, sidelined, his firm's perks yanked, the lawyers slapped by the bar, but I didn't hoard the win. No. Reflecting on Elena's words about legacy, I crafted the Silver Lake Community Use Pact, a flexible license, not permanent, capping visits, hours limited, rules strict, no builds, clean ethics, volunteer cleanups, small fees for upkeep, including seasonal gravel refreshes, and the board embraced it, fair play restored, families signing on with renewed respect. From the settlement, I seeded the Silver Lake Preservation Trust with $80,000, nurturing habitats with expert consultations, testing waters quarterly, guarding purity against encroaching development, launched the Boundary Scholar Award, $2,000 yearly, first to Emily Lynn, Sarah's kid, her eyes misty at the ceremony amid cheers, and funded a defense pool for HOA victims, free chats with Elena, empowering the little guys across counties. June's cleanup day united us, 120-strong planting, clearing 2 tons of debris, even old foes shaking hands over shared lunches, dirt under nails healing divides, Alex's follow-up lauding the turnaround, invites rolling in for talks, me sharing wisdom, record relentlessly, know your edges, wield the law, hold power accountable, and build anew, the message resonating in packed halls. A year and a half on, the pact thrives, 187 families enjoying responsibly, 0 breaches, grants expanding access for all with ramps for wheelchairs, trails blooming with consent and wildflowers. Linda off in another hood, hopefully wiser, me still porch-bound at dawn, coffee steaming, waves lapping lessons learned, grateful for the stand that saved not just my peace, but sparked change. Because justice isn't a solo win, it's a ripple outward, protecting dreams from the grasp of the undeserving, turning personal loss into communal gain. But here's the thing that lingers, the question that tugs at the edges of right and wrong. Was I too harsh in locking it down at first, or was that the only way to force fairness? Does community spirit justify bending boundaries, or is true justice in upholding what's yours, no matter the tears? Where do you draw the line between neighborly grace and self-preservation, especially when loss has already carved so deep? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did I handle it right? Or could compassion have softened the edges without losing the fight?